this morning's headlines, officials at the Solid Waste Department are reporting that the fire at the landfill is almost under control. In news from the region, Jamaica's Police Federation renews a call for better pay and support for police officers. And on the international scene, the U.S. Senate holds a marathon vote on Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill. Well, good morning. I'm Gavin Richards with the DBS Major Morning News. The details right after this.
Need one trusted place to stock up for your home, shop, or business? Fine Foods Inc. Distribution has got you covered. From dry goods and frozen foods to your favorite drinks, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, plus all the household must-have. We've got it all under one roof. We're right here in Jimmy Dominica. And yes, we deliver fast. Whether you're running a supermarket, a corner shop, a bar, or just like your pantry full and happy, Fine Foods Inc. brings you the best brands you know and love. Great prices, top-tier service, trusted products. Call us at 255-6810 or 316-0164 or drop by our Jimmy location to check out what's in store. Fine Foods Inc.
Fine Foods Inc. The biggest distributor for the biggest brand.
Since 1910, HHV Whitchurch and Company Limited has proudly served Dominica, offering a wide variety of products and services in shipping, logistics, insurance, travel, retail, and wholesale. We are committed to serve you. Contact us today at 767-255-1100 or visit us at our main office on Old Street, Roseau. From humble beginnings to proud achievements, HHV Whitchurch and Company Limited.
Petro Caribe. Tank installation is part of our mission. Excellent client support is what we got. Contribution to development of Dominica. Supply of LPG at an affordable rate. Let's go. Petro Caribe straight. No time to waste. So come on everyone with me to Petro Caribe. 250 gallon propane tank. 420 pound propane tank. 100 pound LPG cylinder. Petro Caribe. 20 pound fiberglass cylinder. Petro Caribe. Petro Caribe. Petro Caribe. Petro Caribe. Petro Caribe. Petro Caribe. Petro Caribe.
DBS News.
Welcome back. First up in the news this morning, officials at the Solid Waste Department are reporting that a major fire at the Fonkole landfill is almost under control. Well, the fire broke out yesterday afternoon, sending plumes of toxic fumes into the surrounding areas. A public education officer of the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation, Rhoda St. John, says authorities battled the fire throughout last night.
And the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation, as of 6 a.m. today, reports that the fire has been partially contained. It is not likely to spread. However, there will be some burning still taking place. Thanks to CR5 for their 2 water trucks, ODM for their water truck, and the fire service Ada Trucking, who left the landfill at 5 a.m. this morning. The efforts to completely extinguish the fire will continue at 8 a.m. today. This morning, the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation admonishes the general public, especially the neighboring communities, to continue to exercise caution.
And that was Rhoda St. John of the Dominica Solid Waste Department. The Dominica Water and Sewage Company, DOWASCO, is working to fully restore water supply across the island by today. The General Manager of DOWASCO, Bernard Etinoff, says teams have been deployed to various parts of the island to address the challenges affecting consumers. DOWASCO has reported significant challenges to its water supplies over the weekend due to a tropical wave which impacted the island.
Because of heavy rainfalls that we had over the weekend, a number of the Wasco systems suffered severe damages. So, for example, in the Benz area, we had a broken supply line, which has been repaired. We had quite a bit of blockage at the water intake. We are waiting the arrival of a heavy equipment there now to start silting the intake and to assist us in repairing another line that is broken in the Benz area. We are hoping that we can restore water to the Benz, Anzime and Solna communities by the end of today. Major system interruptions we had in Portsmouth. We had blockage at the Picard intake. We also had the sedimentation tank being filled with sand and other debris settlements. or sediments rather. We had a breaking off of pipelines in the Picard area, and hence lots of silt and sand getting into the pipes. So we are mobilizing a heavy equipment now to desilt the intake. We're trying to empty the sedimentation tank from all the silts that is in there, while we are also going to use heavy equipment to excavate the pipeline to find where it's blocked. So we're going to have to cut it in a few locations to flush and so forth, so that we can restore water to Portsmouth. The Picard area does have a little, because of the elevation, a little is still getting through the pipeline, and that could serve the Picard area there. But the higher elevations, for example, Zikak and those areas cannot be served at this time.
And that's the manager of Dowasco, Bernard Etinoff. A 48-year-old Fonkole man is now serving a 38-year prison sentence following his conviction for murder. Norman Ronald, who pleaded not guilty to the fatal stabbing of Haitian national Melanie Dijon, was found guilty for the incident, which occurred on the 31st of December 2018 at the Roseau Market. Ronaldo Luke Pascal has the story.
During the sentencing hearing, a probation officer revealed that a close friend of the deceased described her as a devoted and hardworking mother of three who supported her family by working as a vendor at the Roseau Market. In contrast, Ronald, also a father of three, disclosed a troubled and personal history marked by substance abuse, domestic violence, and repeat legal infractions. He claimed he was under the influence of cocaine during the offense and has no memory of the incident. Though he initially pleaded not guilty, he later accepted responsibility, expressed remorse, and asked for forgiveness. According to the probation officer, Ronald is aware of the seriousness of the crime and hoped to avoid a life sentence and pursue rehabilitation through faith. State Attorney Fanilia Felix Frederick recommended a sentence of 29 years and 10 months, factoring the aggravating and mitigating circumstances of the case, the time Ronald spent on remand, and the delays in the trial. Director of the Legal Aid Clinic, Peter Allen, who represented Ronald, pleaded for leniency, arguing that Ronald was under the influence of a substance at the time of the incident and not in full control of his actions. He highlighted Ronald's remorse and raised the issue of diminished responsibility. Allen also noted that while some of the victims were Haitian nationals, there was no evidence Ronald specifically targeted them, stressing that he held no animosity towards the Haitian community. In handing down his sentence, Justice Colin Williams stated that based on the facts presented to the court, a determinate sentence was appropriate and set a starting point of 40 years. In assessing the aggravating and mitigating factors, the judge acknowledged that while Ronald provided minimal assistance to the police and claimed he had been under the influence of a substance at the time of the offense, these mitigating factors were ultimately outweighed by the aggravating elements of the case. Among the aggravating factors identified were that 3 other individuals were stabbed during the attack, the incident occurred in full view of the public, others were at risk of harm, and the assault was entirely unprovoked. As a result, 6 years were added, raising the sentence to 46 years. Justice Williams referenced the Needlam's Point Declaration, noting that the 2017 matter should have been concluded by 2021 and deducted 1 year for procedural delays. Ronald was also granted full credit of 6 years, 3 months, and 2 weeks for time already spent on remand. Consequently, the final sentence imposed by the court was 36 years, 7 months, and 2 weeks imprisonment, effective from the date of conviction, June 2, 2025. The judge further ordered that Ronald must serve a minimum of 25 years imprisonment before becoming eligible for parole, with any review of parole to occur at 3-year intervals. Ronaldo Luke Pascal reporting for DBS News.
In some more news this morning, Dominicans are set to benefit from the structured rollout of the local cannabis industry as plans progress towards introducing a legal licensing system for the cultivation and production. Well, that's according to head of the investment unit at the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy, Median Larocque. The proposed framework aims to support public health, ensure regulatory safety, and create long-term economic opportunities for farmers and entrepreneurs throughout the island.
What we're looking at is a process flow where you have a tier system for growers. So a person with a license wouldn't just get a carte blanche to grow any amount. Every tier is stipulated to a specific license. So if you have, for example, half an acre, there's an application fee, and there is also a license, annual license for that. Now, we have a basic idea from the Ministry of Agriculture, the density of plants per acre. So we know what 1 acre more or less will produce 3,000 trees. Of course, people will try to add more, but every tree will be traceable. Every plant will be accounted for. And then we would have compliance officers basically that would do random inspection, random checks. These growers basically would be subjected to some sort of regulations. In this instance, we're looking at DOMGAP, which is Dominica Good Agriculture Practices. And the reason for that is to ensure that there's uniformity and there's also some sort of control in terms of the indiscriminate use of agrochemicals, for example, and also that we will ensure that the environment, their workers, they themselves are well protected with the education in terms of calibration of their equipment, their PPEs, and so on. Because what we want to do is to have a process flow that is safe and wholesome. Because we want to ensure that wherever that product goes to, whoever uses that product is safe. That product is not adding any negative attributes towards the body. Because for us, it is medication. It is for the wholesome rejuvenation of the body.
And that's member of the Dominica Cannabis Committee, Median La Roque. A National Cannabis Symposium is scheduled to take place on the 9th of July at the State House Conference Center. Chairman of the Dominica Air and Seaports Authority, Blaise Jones, says the board of directors are committed to providing continuous training for security officers. On Friday, 67 security officers of DASPA graduated from a 2-week screener certificate training program, which was facilitated by Royston Griffin of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of St. Kitts and Nevis.
The reason why you are here is to enhance your position as a security officer and also to enhance our status as a secure port. The two has to work hand in hand. You cannot do one and not the other. So the way you comport yourself, not only on the job, as somebody indicated earlier on, but the way you comport yourselves out there, because the people will say, this is a DASPA employee. Can you imagine a security officer acting like that? So you have to comport yourself in a particular way, not only on the job, but in your day-to-day lives. Training, I remember we did a survey, and one of the things that came out from the survey is that you were asking for more training. Well, training it shall be. We as a board, we are committed to getting you trained to the highest level. We will ensure that the resources are made available for you to get the training that is required for you to execute your responsibility.
The chairman of DASPA also called on security officers to remember the role they play in Dominica's developmental agenda.
You're going home with a piece of paper saying that you are certified. That piece of paper, you can frame it, you can put it away, but it has to be a reminder of what you did here this week, a reminder of your role, and a reminder of the importance of who you are in Dominica's developmental thrust. We heard the talk of international airport. We're not only training you for international airport, we're training you for now. We're training you for tomorrow. We're giving you the wherewithal to work so that in the event that we move to the international airport, you'll be ready for it. So what you learn here should not be put on a shelf until we get to the international airport. It has to be implemented today, tomorrow. So I implore you, ladies and gentlemen, to work diligently and try to put into practice all that you have learned for the past week.
And that's the chairman of the Dominica Air and Seaports Authority, Blaise Jones. Let's head into news from the region this morning. The Central Committee of the Jamaica Police Federation is once again calling for better pay and support for police officers, stating that more must be done for those who have sworn to serve and protect every citizen of Jamaica. Detective Corporal Peter Gay Williams An executive member of the Federation made the appeal during her address at the funeral service for slain Corporal Colonel Maine. Maine, a 20-year veteran of the Jamaica Police Force, was gunned down steps away from his home. Williams says that police are not asking for charity but demanding justice, respect, fairness, and a livable income. She said those who protect must also be protected, not as a privilege, but as a right. And the news on the international scene, the U.S. Senate is holding a marathon vote on a budget that is critical to President Donald Trump's agenda, but the spending plan hangs in the balance after weeks of negotiations. Republicans, who control both chambers of Congress, are split over how much to cut welfare programs in order to extend tax breaks in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Well, meanwhile, the U.S. President Donald Trump's former close aide, Elon Musk, has again attacked the legislation which the president's party is trying to pass by the 4th of July. If measures clear the Senate, it will have to go back for another vote to the House of Representatives, which passed its own version of the bill last month by a single vote. The legislation, if passed, would also reduce some welfare programs and increase the national debt. Well, that's the news. Let's recap the headlines. Officials at the solid waste are reporting that a fire at the Fonkole landfill is almost under control. Jamaica's Police Federation renews a call for better pay and support for police officers. And the U.S. Senate holds a marathon vote on Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill. Well, that's the news. Stay tuned for sports.
Since 1910, HHV Whitchurch and Company Limited has proudly served Dominica, offering a wide variety of products and services in shipping, logistics, insurance, travel, retail, and wholesale. We are committed to serve you. Contact us today at 767-255-1100 or visit us at our main office on Old Street, Roseau. From humble beginnings to proud achievements, HHV Whitchurch and Company Limited.
Are you tired of having the same boring breakfast every morning? Well, Monflake Oats is the healthy and perfect solution just for you. Make your breakfast exciting by adding Monflakes to your pancakes, parfait, or even milkshake. Monflake can be found in different sizes and available in granola, such as Caribbean or Hawaiian. Stop worrying about what to prepare for your breakfast, dessert, snack, or even dinner. Monflake is the best addition to your meal. Grab yourself a bag today.
Locally distributed by Fine Foods Inc. and available island-wide.
Petro Caribe. Tank installation is part of our mission. Excellent client support is what we got. Contribution to development of Dominica. Supply of LPG at an affordable rate. Let's go. Petro Caribe straight. No time to waste. So come on everyone with me to Petro Caribe. 250 gallon propane tank. 420 pound propane tank, 100 pound LPG cylinder, Petro Caribe, 20 pound fiberglass cylinder, Petro Caribe, Petro Caribe, Petro Caribe, Petro Caribe, Petro Caribe, Petro Caribe, Petro Caribe.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Just Mobank me. Here's my ID.
Just Mobank me. It's that easy.
The faster, easier way to bank. NBD makes it easy to bank online, anywhere, at any time with Mobanking. The faster, easier way to bank.
The faster, easier way.
So transfer funds on Mobanking.
The faster, easier way.
To pay your bills with Mobanking.
The faster, easier way.
So order checks on Mobanking.
The faster, faster, easier
Pay employees
way.
on Mobanking.
The faster, easier way to bank.
Plus, you can now top up your phone on Mobanking. No need for cash or card. Simply log into Mobanking to top up your phone. Visit nbdominica.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more details.
The faster, easier way to bank.
NBD.
Your partner, your bank.
Covering the nation and beyond. DBS Sports Report.
Welcome to the morning sports. Let's bowl off with cricket news. The head coach of the Windward Islands under-19 cricket team, John Eugene, likes the Windward's chances as they get set for the 2025 Cricket West Indies under-19 Rising Stars tournament. Well, the competition gets underway this week in St. Kitts. The Windward Islands team will play the Leeward Islands in their opening match on Thursday, while the Windwards are coming off a preparatory camp in St. Lucia. Eugene says that the guys are in good spirits.
I think basically what the camp covered was a lot of intent on how we want to play. I think credit must go to the pathway coaches within the Windward Islands. I think they really put in some work before the boys actually got to St. Lucia. So it was just a matter of us, trying to put in all the bits together and trying to tick all the boxes. I think the camp really went well for the last couple of days. The match that we had, a lot of, execution was well planned in this match. And, it was a lot of, great discussion about how we want to play. This year, we have spent a lot of time on planning, awareness on different areas, which once we execute well, we could be very competitive in this tournament. One of the areas, we look at was, opposition, who we're going to come up against, the challenges that's going to face us for the tournament, conditions, playing conditions. We spoke a lot around that area, players, executing the roles and responsibilities that, they were given. So I think from our end, it's just a matter of us understanding what, we have to do as a team collectively and, players putting up their hands and looking to, execute and, win games for us.
And that's the head coach of the Windward Islands under-19 cricket team, John Eugene, while the Windwards under-19 team is being captained by Dominica's Stefan Pascal. The team also features 5 other Dominicans. They are Luvio Charles, Arsenio Fontaine, Joel Dura, Edmond Moranci, and Kester Lestrade. Let's head into football news this morning. A senior player for the Belfast Estate Mau Soccer Strikers, Nick Anthony, says the club, they're looking to take things one game at a time as they go in search of their first ever DFA Premier League title. The Soccer Strikers, who are in second place in the points table, will take on the Valvoline Way United team as the Premier League continues tonight. The Soccer Strikers are 6 points behind the league leaders Central Cooperative Credit Union Dubla FC. That game gets underway at 6:30 tonight at the DFA Technical Center. Anthony says that tonight's game is an important one if the Soccer Strikers are serious about the championship.
I would first of all say that we will approach the game with all due respect to our opponents. I mean, last league they finished second and they had a good run in. They are a very good team. They play well in transition. So we will approach the game with a lot of respect to the opponent team, We United. It's one game at a time. We really tend to focus on the next game at hand. The most important game is the next game. And we are trying to get the title this year. And if you, like you said, we do lose tomorrow, it would be a lot of pressure, but we have no intentions on losing. The guys are all pumped in the camp, like I said, and we will approach the game with respect. So just hopefully we come up with the great results with a W like we plan to.
And that's the senior player for the Belfast Estate Mau Soccer Strikers, Nick Anthony. The Soccer Strikers have been strengthened with the addition of striker Clemson Isaac from the Middleham United team and the returning Keanu Martin. Anthony says that both players will add some new dimensions to the team.
as a very good addition to our front line. I will see him as a leader to actually lead the front line and to bring a lot of goals to the team. I think like he's a very valuable player to the team. As well as Keanu Martin, we all know the type of player that he is. As long as he is comfortable and now he's back home, and we are all happy to have both he and Clemson back with us. Clemson is first time. Keanu was a player here before, and we all know what he brings. So we are very much happy to have those two guys adding some quality, some more quality to the camp.
Senior player for the Belfast Estate Mau Soccer Strikers, Nick Anthony. So it's the Belfast Estate Mau Soccer Strikers up against Valvoninwe United. That game is scheduled for 6:30 tonight at the DFA Technical Center in Stock Farm. However, I have a strong feeling that the game might probably have some challenges with what's going on with the fire at the landfill, and DBS Sports will continue to follow to see if that game will still go ahead as scheduled. Let's go back to cricket news as the West Indies captain Ruston Chase has called out the questionable decisions from the umpires in the first test match against Australia and feels that some sort of penalty needs to be put in place to address poor umpiring decisions. Well, the West Indies lost the first test last weekend, and Chase says that the decisions impacted on the game. The West Indies captain says that umpires need to be held accountable for their errors.
As players, when we mess up, when we get out of line, we are penalized harshly. Sometimes we're even banned. It might be in terms of a monetary fine or something, but the officials, nothing ever happens to them. I mean, they just have a wrong decision or questionable decision and life just goes on. I mean, you're talking about guys' careers. I mean, one bad decision could make or break a guy's career. So I just think that it should be an even playing ground in terms of when players step out of the line, they're penalized. I think that there should be some penalty put in place when you have blatant decisions going against you. And I think it was a big factor in the game because, as I said, you see what batters can do when they get in. And me and Hope were going well, and then we just had some calls that went against us. And I mean, we even had a catch that went against us in the first innings when we were bowling. So you never know what the score could have been, but I don't want to harp on it. I mean, as a player, you're out there, you're giving your all, you're fighting, and then nothing is going your way. It could be heartbreaking and breaking a lot of momentum and stuff. And I mean, you see what set batters can do on the wicket. The wicket is one. Once you get in, you can get runs, but the hardest part is to get in.
And that's the West Indies captain, Ruston Chase. Dominica Special Olympics is hoping to participate for the first time in the sport of basketball. For this year, Dominica, they're preparing to participate in a unified 3x3 basketball tournament, which is scheduled to take place in Guadeloupe from the 13th of November. The event will feature 15 teams from across the region. Ainsworth Irish, the National Director of Special Olympics Dominica, says the initiative highlights the island's commitment to inclusion through sports and the empowerment of all athletes.
Every year we participate in some sort of Caribbean sports. Just last year, 2 of our athletes were in Cayman Island playing bocce. They did well. And then after that, in November last year, we were in Trinidad in the Caribbean Games, bocce. And then, of course, we're preparing now for the 13th to the 17th of November in Guadeloupe, where some 12 Caribbean programs will be taking part in the 3x3 Special Olympics basketball competition. Of course, we have to go with 5 athletes. One of them must be a normal athlete. So they call that unified sports, where we try to have normal athletes play with the special athletes. So that itself is a fillip for further development and positivity for the Special Olympic movement. I can tell you that there are 19 programs in the region. In fact, today we'll be having a special Zoom meeting with all the national directors around the region. So it's a big movement and it's growing nicely. And what we want to do now is to get more persons to come out and volunteer and get involved in unified sports. So there are 26 Olympic type sports, but because we don't have coaches as such in Dominica, we just embark upon 2 sports, athletics and bocce, and now we're going into basketball. We had a cricket team and a soccer team, but some of the athletes have gone, beyond, and some have traveled, and so we're trying to rekindle what's happening.
And that's the National Director for Special Olympics, Dominica Ainsworth Irish. Cricket commentator Ozzie Lewis remembers the late Augustus Val Felix as one of the best batsmen the Windward Islands has ever produced. The former Dominica and Windward Islands captain passed away last week. Augustus Val Felix captained Dominica and the Windwards and the combined islands before leaving the Caribbean in 1958. Felix passed away in Canada last week.
So Val was the captain of Dominica in cricket, of course, in the mid-50s, around there. I remember distinctly he played his last tournament in 1958. But I had the privilege to see this man, Val Felix, bat before that. In particular, the year was 1955. I was a young teenager at school in the grammar school. And what I saw that day was a century which I'll never forget from Val Felix against a Trinidad club side. It wasn't the island side, but a powerful team that toured in Dominica. And this man scored 138 runs. And the driving of the back foot and the front foot, I've hardly seen that quality, I can tell you, at any class of cricket.
And that's cricket commentator Ozzie Lewis, where Lewis remembers Felix as one of the best batsmen to not have made the West Indies team.
In those days, he, along with Alec Reid, were two sportsmen that I'm saying so, that the world would take recognition of. Alec Reid was called the best keeper they had seen in 1955. And this guy's played West Indies trials and for various reasons failed to make the West Indies team. In any case, the West Indies team in the 1950s was a powerful team. You still had people like Wicks, Royal, Walcott, and his great men around. So it was difficult for Val to find a pick. But I can tell you that century at the Botanic Gardens, 138 against the Trinidad team, will remain indelibly etched in my memory forever. And so I felt I should divulge that because people right today will not probably have heard of him. There's no video, there's no Hall of Fame, nothing at all. And we don't pay enough tribute to our great heroes. But I can tell you, I was privileged to see one of Dominica's truly great heroes.
Cricket commentator Ozzie Lewis, and we'll end with this item as there was a 9-wicket win for the Rangers as they got past the Bolorama champion Secret Bay as matches continued in the National Tip Ball League on the weekend. Secret Bay made 98 all-out batting first with Daru getting 34. We had a Benjamin getting 4 for 20 and Valmont 3 for 38. Rangers replied with 100 for 1 in 6 overs with a Bellot getting 39 not out. In some other results, Benz won by default over the Police. Well, that's the DBS Morning Sports. We'll have some more news and sporting highlights for you during the DBS Morning News Update at 11 o'clock. And we'll also look out for the 13:15 news. Until then, I'm Gavin Richard saying good morning.
Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Just Mobank me. Here's my ID.
Just Mobank me. It's that easy.
The faster, easier way to bank.
NBD makes it easy to bank online, anywhere, at any time with Mobanking. The